reminder to all students to beware of rapid squirrel attacks. And now, back to the studio.
I thought squirrels used to be so nice.
I know, it's a crazy story, Veronica.
And now to our special report, Technology Talks, Voice Recognition with Ron.
In today's world, security is a big issue. People and companies want to know their technology is being kept safe. With this growing need for new security, up-and-coming technologies are evolving to change the way security is being viewed. One of the newer ways is voice recognition, an up-and-coming technology. Hi, I'm Ron with tonight's special report. We're here with Michele, an employee from a top 5 security company. Michele, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for coming tonight.
You're welcome. The pleasure's all mine.
I understand your company works with a vast majority of security technology.
That is indeed correct. One of the things we'll be talking about today is voice recognition programs.
Good. Now, Michele, I know this is a new topic to me, and I'm sure it's a new topic for some of our viewers. I was just wondering, what exactly is voice recognition?
That's a very good question. I think your audience should know what voice recognition is. Basically, a simple version of what it is it takes a voice recognition program takes your voice or phrases or passphrase and it converts it into different signals, which kind of much like a telephone, but instead of a telephone transmitting it to another phone, it transmits it or stores it into a computer, which you would use for password later on. Most of the time, they would actually consider what you say into the voice recognition to be a voice print, where it's the different patterns in your voice, the ups and downs, the voice stress, how loud you speak. It basically all goes into this.
Now, Michele, what is the history of voice recognition? How did it come about, and how did it become what it is today?
It's actually a very interesting story of how the history of voice recognition came about. Remember the story that I told you about the telephone? Well, when Alexander Graham Bell when he was trying to create a program that a computer would recognize voice, basically because his wife was having some hearing problems, he kind of stumbled on the telephone by mistake, and it was kind of the precursor to voice recognition programming. However, in the 1950s, the Bell Laboratories developed the first effective speech recognition program, but it was only for numbers, which could be a big problem because, well, numbers aren't, there's a great combination of numbers and letters and just not numbers. In the 1980s, there's a much bigger milestone. There's 2 different types of voice recognition that were created, and they became available pretty much to the public. And the first one was text dependent, which, as you can imagine, is pretty much like any type of password, where you have to type in or say, well, like a password where you have to type in a specific phrase or code, and you have to make sure that it's completely correct or it won't allow you in. With a text dependent voice recognition program, you would basically have to say the exact same phrase every single time. You can't have any variance to it. But the thing that is still used today, which is the text independent, which it takes into consideration more of the voice print, your tone of voice, how loud it is, your accent, not necessarily what is being said, not the phrase.
Now, what are some of voice recognition's major implications as it pertains to today, or, how is it used recently?
That's an interesting question. It's actually used almost everywhere today. We find it in keychains, car chains, car keys, video games. There's a new video game released that uses voice recognition to command troops. High security systems, like our company like ours, uses it for doors to make sure that the information that is behind it or the programs behind it are safe and can only be accessed by certain people. There's also a very interesting situation. About Osama bin Laden, an international terrorist that is pretty much at large. They have used the voice recognition programs to match his voice from the videotapes to the more recent audio tapes, and they use this to make sure that to verify that it actually is him. And the voice stress that, like, say, Osama bin Laden is using when in his speeches will have other minute characteristics that no other person will have. And much like security systems, the voice recognitions that the government will use will copy that, make a voice print out of it, and then use it to compare it to another source that they have.
I had no idea that the same technology used in video games was being used by the government to verify, terrorist audio tapes and whether these terrorists are still alive or not. This technology seems like it has a lot of implications and, very powerful. How much is it to install?
Well, I can't really be too specific about some of the inside costs. I can say that it was about $5,000 per door to install per door. There's a lot of technology that actually goes behind the door or inside the door that's you just don't see it.
That seems like an awful lot of money just for one door. Is the technology worth that amount of money?
Well, that's an interesting point that you bring up. We felt that it was very important for our company. We had one worker that recently got fired, and he wasn't very happy about it. So he actually stole a current employee's ID card. We used to be a card swipe ID for some of the more important areas. And if we wouldn't have changed, he would have had access to the secret areas or the secure areas that he would no longer be allowed to if he was not part of the company. And so when switching to VR, you can actually input a voice print, and then once that person, say, is fired or quits, you can delete it right off the program, and they can no longer have entrance to the building or to the site where it is protected.
Oh, well, Michele, thank you again for coming with us.
Oh, you're welcome. It was such a pleasure.
And stay tuned. Next up, we'll be talking with Alisa. She is on site with a technician, and will give an example of how VR is used in today's world.
All right, so I'm here with Diane, a security technician from an undisclosed company, who's here today to show us how a real voice recognition system works and how to set it up.
Hi Alisa, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So basically I have everything set up for you. All you have to do is state your name in the microphone and you're going to be good to go.
Okay. Alisa.
Okay, it's going to take a few seconds. Okay, ready, you're set in our system.
Great.
So let's go and check it out.
Okay.
That's our voice recognition device. All you have to do is state your name and the door will unlock.
All right, let's see if this works. Alisa. Wow, that was really easy. I can't imagine there being any problems with that kind of system. Have you found anything?
Yeah, there were some few minor incidents in the past with our voice recognition system. However, for example, if a person or one of our employees gets sick and, for example, with the flu, and they get congested, so when they try to gain access to the building or to one of their sectors, the voice recognition system cannot read them and therefore deny the access to the office or sector where they want to enter. So basically in those cases, we have specific protocols in place, and that employee can find a technician and solve the problem.
All right, so I guess as can be expected with systems like these, there's obviously some problems that still need to be fixed, but in general, would you recommend this as a better form of security to be used in companies like yours and other companies as well?
Yes, definitely. Although we have some minor setbacks, I think this is the most reliable technology so far, and it's the best choice for our company.
All right, well, thank you for having me here and showing us how the voice recognition systems work.
Well, thank you.
And now back to Ron and Veronica in the studio.
Don't forget to watch us next time, and remember, students, beware of the squirrels.
Veronica, look out!
Ah!